We want to turn now to 9/11. Today marks 23 years since the 9/11 terror attacks, if you can believe it. President Biden, Vice President Harris, and former President Trump will mark the day by attending a memorial ceremony this morning in New York City. Biden, Harris, and Trump will also attend events in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, later today. The president and vice president will then end the day at a wreath-laying ceremony at the Pentagon. Joining us now, Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. He will be joining President Biden and Vice President Harris in New York City this morning. And as we remember, it's hard to imagine this was 23 years ago. For me, it was like yesterday for like many others. But as we remember what happened on 9/11, 23 years ago, what are the ways this country still needs to continue to be vigilant and mindful that our homeland needs to be protected?
Good morning. The threats persist in this country. They have evolved significantly, both foreign terrorist threats and domestic threats. But what has not changed is the tireless dedication of 260,000 individuals in the United States Department of Homeland Security. This is a very somber day when we honor the lives lost on 9/11 and in the days, weeks, months, and years since. We in the department honor those lives every day through the work that we do. The terrorist threat requires vigilance, not only on our part, but on everyone's part, to be alert and to respond when one sees something of concern. It requires a community of action. We are all one community.
Secretary Mayorkas, good morning. Of course, your department, the one you head now, was created after the attacks of 9/11 to increase that vigilance you were just talking about. I wonder if you, for Americans who have not had the opportunity to go to where you are standing right now, I can hear the water behind you and the footprints of where those towers stood. What it's like, I've been there many, many times, to stand at that memorial, to consider everything that happened there, to consider everything that happened after that day, and to go through the museum, the extraordinary museum down there. Can you just give people watching a sense of what it's like to stand there on this day?
It is an extraordinarily solemn place. It is also a very inspiring one. It is solemn because we remember the horrific tragedy that has changed the life of our country and changed the lives of so many people. It is inspiring because our country still stands tall and still stands strong, not only here but around the world. It speaks very powerfully of the resolve of our nation and of our people.
All right, Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, thank you so much. And we're going to be observing the moments of silence later this morning, commemorating that extraordinarily tragic attack 23 years ago. Mika, I'd love to go around and get you and Willie's thoughts and Mike's thoughts on that day. Now, so many years ago, it's just hard to believe.
It is. I covered it for CBS and was down there for many weeks after and watched the towers fall. And I still have these terrible tinges of feelings about going home to my kids weeks after covering it, and the thousands of people who didn't go home in those seconds when those towers fell and when those planes crashed into the Pentagon and in Shanksville. And it's one of those markers in your life, before 9/11 and after 9/11.
Yeah, no doubt. Willie, and it was very personal. I mean, for so many of us that were outside the New York City area, you know, we grieved. We hung American flags. We came together as one. It was an extraordinary feeling that I've never felt before. Just all Americans together as one. It certainly seemed that way. But for Mika, it was very personal being down there as the towers were falling, reporting on it, being shoved away from the falling debris. For you, it was very personal as well, knowing people in your hometown that went to work that morning but never returned.
Yeah, I grew up in a commuter town in New Jersey, just over the river. We had 12 people in our town die on 9/11, including my next-door neighbor, Gina Steinberg. Her daughter, Lori, was my first friend in kindergarten, so we think about her every day. Our dear friend, John Van Devender. The list is too long to even name from our town. My sister-in-law, my beloved sister-in-law, Allison, was in the building, pregnant, and ran down 70 flights of stairs, getting out of the building just before it collapsed. And I also think, Mike Barnicle, about the first responders who were so brave that day. 343 firefighters died. Many more have died since from their 9 months on the pile there, from how sick they got. Now more members of the FDNY have died because of those cancers than actually died on that day. I think about the men and women who were sent to Iraq and Afghanistan, some who did not come home, some who bear the scars of those wars and will for the rest of our lives. The ripples of that terrible day that continue on this day.
The ripples of the lives lost and the lives that continued, and many of the lives that you just mentioned. My wife was on a flight to New York. She had a scheduled 9 a.m. meeting at the World Trade Center that morning. Her flight was reverted back to Boston in midair. There was an iconic photo taken of a ladder truck crossing the Brooklyn Bridge that morning, heading toward a burning building, World Tower 1. And the reason it's iconic, I think, to many people, certainly to me, is that you can see the firefighters holding on to the truck as it speeds across the bridge with no traffic in front of it, and an American flag rippling in the breeze behind it. All those firefighters died that day, that morning, in that building, in those collapsed towers. And the lives lost will always be remembered. Today is a day of memory and resilience, as we indicated earlier. But the lives that are left, the lives that you just mentioned, and the ripple of their lives, the meaning of their lives, and what that day meant and meant to this country going forward. Again, this is not a country in decline. And part of the reason it's not in decline because of the pride, the spirit, and the combativeness of the American spirit.
That photo, Mike, you remember that? I believe it was on the front page of the New York Daily News a few days later. That's where I worked on September 11th. I was also, much like Miko, a reporter that day. I was at the hospitals and the morgues on the 11th, got down to Ground Zero on the 12th. It feels like it was just yesterday. And I think one thing, beyond the sacrifice, beyond the sadness, there was that feeling for some weeks of national unity, Rev, that we were all together. Like the nation rallied around New York, and of course those affected by what happened in the Pentagon and Western Pennsylvania. And we've become so divided and so fractured since then. But every so often you do see a glimpse and a hope that maybe we can be like that again.
And I think that is the story that we should have coming out of the day, is the legacy of people did come together. I remember when 9/11 happened, and after the trauma, it was a primary day here. I was campaigning for a candidate when I found out about it. The immediate trauma after that, a young man that went to church with my daughters stayed with us because his mother was in the building and died. And for weeks, he kept, every time the phone rang, was hoping it was his mother calling. He had to come to terms. He's now a minister, Reverend Travis Boyd. He had to come to terms with his mother wasn't coming back. And I said, now I understand terrorism. Now I understand, because this is the first time we experienced that on the homeland. And I called Mort Zuckerman, who then owned the Daily News, and said, I want to identify with people in Israel. I want to go to Israel. He arranged for Sharon Peres to host me in Israel. And Peres said, you should not only denounce terrorism, Reverend, and I met with him in his office, I did that. He said, you ought to meet with Yasser Arafat. And he arranged for me to go meet with Arafat to denounce what bin Laden had done. And the point I made then that I raised this morning, particularly on the day after this debate, is that those terrorists didn't send an email to blacks to don't come to work at the World Trade Center. They didn't tell Latinos by text, stay away. They didn't care. They saw us all as Americans. And we don't always see each other as Americans. They saw in us what we didn't see in themselves. That's why it's important for people like Joe and I, who may have disagreed, to stand together on what we agree and grow together. Or even Donnie and I, because that's where we had to be the day after 9/11, and we should never forget that.
It brought out the best of Mike. I was getting pretty choked up listening to you talk, and on the one hand, there was deep sorrow, but there's just incredible pride about who we are and the way we reacted to that, the way we came together. And you think, I mean, it's over 20 years ago, and it's a part of us. It's a part of who we are. It showed the worst that can happen, and it brought out the best of who we are. And that's what one guy who's running for president doesn't understand: the soul of this country and what we're about, and that we do look forward, and we do believe in hope, and that we rise from the ashes and we build ourselves. He doesn't understand that. He paints a dystopian society where anything but.
President Biden, Vice President Harris, among the dignitaries, will be at Ground Zero. A short time from now, also President Trump, Senator J.D. Vance, his running mate, will be there as well. The first moment of silence at 8:46 Eastern Time. That is when Flight 11 hit the North Tower. Another at 9:03 when the South Tower was struck, and others as the towers fell to come. Moment of silence at the Pentagon, moment of silence in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, of course, the site of Flight 93 going down on this day 23 years ago.